Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan, Jaya Balagopal, Jaya Balagopal, Balagopal, Jaya Balagopal, Jaya Radha Madhav, Radha Madhav, Radha Madhav, Jai Shri Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha, Shyam Sundar Radhe Radhe, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jaya Vrindavan Dham, Jaya Narsingha Dev, Narsingha Dev, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Gurudev, Gurudev, Nitai, Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. श्री राम संकीर्तन की जय, गीता मैराथन महामहोत्सवा की जय, कात्यायनी व्रता महामहोत्सवा की जय, अनंत कोटि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, नेक्टर ऑफ डिवोशन की जय, श्री रूप गोस्वामी की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. All glories assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we welcome all the devotees for our Nectar of Devotion session this morning. We have our speaker, Her Grace Purnanandini Madhavi Mataji joining us. So over to you, Mataji. Thank you very much for joining in. We'll welcome Mataji. We're loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Over to you. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for that wonderful Kirtan, Mataji. So let's start. Hare Krishna, welcoming all to the Nectar of Devotion series. We'll start with the prayers. Om Agnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. To the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunau Sadharma Samsthapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajananande Namattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis, namely Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami and Shri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all the human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the 3 worlds and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in transcendental loving service of Radha Krishna. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkrapatam ahmade Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Panamananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Oh, 1 second. Just a second, I thought I had opened it. Yeah, Hare Krishna. I hope devotees, it is visible now, right?
Yes, Mataji.
So, yeah. So we have to start from para 8. That is practically, they are the 3 processes of elevating, right? So first half an hour, we'll read the paragraphs quickly and then kind of we can summarize, right? Yeah, so I want devotees to volunteer to read. Please raise your hands, those who want to read. Medhavini Mataji will have to wait. I'm extremely sorry about that. Okay, Mataji, I think you can start. Let's have a very auspicious start. Go ahead, Mataji, practically.
No, Mataji, you can, if there are nobody, then I will read in the end, Mataji. That's fine.
No, it's okay. It's okay, Mataji. Please, every time I say that, go ahead, please. It's a small paragraph. Go ahead.
Okay. So, practically, there are 3 processes for elevating one to the platform of spiritual consciousness. These processes are called karma, jnana, and bhakti. Ritualistic performances are in the field of karma. Speculative processes are in the field of jnana. One who is taken to bhakti, the devotional service of the Lord, need have nothing to do with karma or jnana. It has been already explained that pure devotional service is without any tinge of karma or jnana. Bhakti should have no tinge of philosophical speculation or ritualistic performances. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dhanatha. So, Hare Krishna. So, actually, if we just read Prabhupada's purport and other scriptures, or we listen to the acharyas, even karma and gnana cannot be done with bhakti. What do you mean by bhakti? Bhakti means, we are shraddha. I mean, that is, there is faith. And then here the chapter name itself is that the purity, of devotional service, right? That means there is nothing that can contaminate devotional service, right? So even if we are doing karma or gnana, whether it is spiritual or material, unless we have shraddha or unless we have bhakti, or unless we have faith, utmost faith, then we will not be able to do it. And then now this paragraph particularly, Rupa Goswami's Pad is talking about pure bhakti, which has absolutely no tinge of philosophical speculation or karma or any fruitive activity. What exactly is karma? The karma and karma yoga, what is the difference? In karma, we expect the results for ourselves, right? And in gnana, we are speculating. Now, both these are eliminated in pure devotional service, because one is, when purity comes in, we don't expect anything for us. And there is no question of, saying maybe this, maybe that. So that's how Rupa Goswami is explaining this aspect in this paragraph. Okay. Rohini Shetty Mataji, next one.
Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
In this connection, Srila Rupa Goswami gives evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 21st chapter, verse 2, in which Lord Krishna says to Uddhava, the distinction between qualification and disqualification may be made in this way. Persons who have already elevated in discharging devotional service will never again take shelter of the processes of fruitive activity or philosophical speculation. If one sticks to devotional service and is conducted by regulative principles given by the authorities and acharyas, that is the best qualification. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. You see the power of following the regulative principles given by the acharyas, or guided by Guru or his disciples, right? Here it is saying, Uddhava, there is, Krishna is telling Uddhava, he will never take to fruitive activity. Now, we may all have this thing in our mind, we are trying to be sadhakas, right? But definitely we have some fruitive mentality. At least I'm speaking of myself. I would like to know if any of us on the board are come to that stage that we are not expecting any results of anything that we do. If anyone is there, my koti dandat pranams to such a devotee on board. Is anyone there, please?
All are Sakam Bhaktas, mostly like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We are in the process of Sakam Bhaktas only, yes. But then what is highlighted here is about the process. The process is so powerful. Eventually, it is going to bring us all to that aspect. And there was one, when Srila Prabhupada in one of his lectures was talking about purity, right? A reporter stands up and he asks, how many pure devotees are here? So Srila Prabhupada asked one of the devotees, how many of us are all here? So, and then he gives some number, some 20 or whatever number. Then so he tells the reporter that there are 20, including him, includes himself, and then he says 21 pure devotees. Like the reporter is taken aback. He says, what do you mean? He says, it's in the process. Some have already reached, some have 80%, some are 90%. So this is told by, I'm repeating Srila Prabhupada's words, right? So if we are all in the process, we are all in the process of becoming pure devotees. And His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj says, start hankering to be wanting to be a pure devotee, right? Ato Shraddha, everything starts from that. So once you start that, but then also I heard that we have to be very cautious about this aspect, because once we are saying one wants to be a pure devotee, then humility is the topmost aspect. If we see the Shad Goswamis, the topmost thing in any pure devotee is humility. So be when we are hankering on, when we are praying to Krishna to be a pure devotee, not top devotee, pure devotee, be ready to be humiliated. Humiliated means, take whatever, mostly brickbats among the devotee circle, outside the devotee circle. So, when I heard this, it was when we are praying for pure devotion or humility, we have to be ready to be, take a lot of brickbats, right? Like Jadabharata, he was so, the name given is Jada, but then he was Jada to this material world. But we know how much of a pure devotee he was, right? So that is the aspect that we have to keep in mind. Yes, Padmaja Mataji, can you read the next one?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. The statement is supported in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 5th chapter, verse 17, wherein Sri Narada Muni advises Vyasadeva, thus, even if one does not execute his specific occupational duty, but immediately takes direct shelter of the lotus feet of Hari Krishna, there will be no fault on his part, and in all circumstances his position is secure, even if by some bad association he falls down while executing devotional service, or if he does not finish the complete course of devotional service and dies untimely, still he is not at a loss. A person who is simply discharging his occupational duty in Varna and Ashrama, however, with no Krishna consciousness, practically does not gain the true benefit of human life. The purport is that all conditioned souls who are engaged very practically in activities for sense gratification without knowing that this process will never help them get out of material contamination are awarded only with repeated births and deaths. Thank you, Mataji. Haripur.
Hare Krishna. So that shloka reference here, translation by Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, one who has forsaken material occupation to engage, okay, Lord, may sometimes fall down in the immature stage, yet there is no danger, right? If we read Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, 31, shloka 31, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chanti nigachyate kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyate. And Srila Prabhupada translates it as, he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. And actually it is a very interesting and very heartening kind of purport that Srila Prabhupada gives. Why, even though there is a fall down, while in the process of following devotional service, how that person is purified because of the process, because of the devotional service that he has taken to. There is no doubt that one will be purified from the heart, not just by the activities that one is doing, also the proclivity. The main thing that we have to remember in this is the proclivity to sin is removed by devotional service. That is how powerful devotional service is. Whereas we cannot expect this in the karma kanda activities. What is karma kanda activities? Any of these vratas that we do, there the purification of the heart doesn't happen. Purification of heart happens only in devotional service, right? So, and we have to be very careful about this aspect, that one need not, about occupational duties in Varna and Ashrama, right? Now, being in the material world and being all of us being grihasthas, we have our occupational duties, right? I was listening to Urmila Mataji, and very beautifully she was explaining, we have to see reasons when we come across people who we think are obstacles in our devotional path. Are we avoiding them to do our devotional service, or are we escaping from them? Or are we escaping from our duties, right? The whole aspect of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling, do your duty, but I'll tell you how to do it. So we have to keep this in our mind, that duty cannot be, our occupational duties should not and cannot be whimsically given up, right? There has to be a consultation with senior devotees wherever we are connected with. If we have to really take a stance of getting away from our occupational duties in the varna and ashrama, right? And and then understand that Krishna consciousness is practice, then the Lord will be happy. Because if whimsically we do it, we must understand, if somebody is in pain, say whatever our duty is, and that person is in pain, then Krishna will also consider that pain, because as Paramatma, he's there in their hearts also. So we have to be very very wary of how we understand this. And if we really don't understand, then it is best to take guidance, right? Doing our occupational duties, right? Here it is saying frantically active in activities for sense gratification. So we should not be running away from our occupational duties. That should not be another sense gratification, because it is difficult for me, because I don't want to do it. And then we can take the wheel of Krishna consciousness. That should not happen, right? So we have to keep be aware of this thing. Sindhu Mataji, please read the next.
Before this, like in the 9th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that even if the devotees perform sin, that is been okay. I mean, it has been okayed by Krishna because he's performing devotional activities. So a little bit sin performed by a devotee is okay for Krishna, like that Krishna says somewhere in 9th chapter. There's one verse.
Yeah, that is what I read, Prabhu. But then also we should remember the offenses against the holy name. It should not be that I'm doing devotional activity so I can sin. Okay, and we must remember Buddhim Buddhimatam Asmi. Krishna says he will know. Even if I don't say, he will know. If by mistake, please read the purport very carefully. In an accidental fall down, it says, okay, not deliberate. There is a gross difference between the both. So it has to be very nicely understood or taken guidance from seniors about this aspect. Okay, Hare Krishna. Sindhu Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna, pranam Mataji. Mataji, from which paragraph? In the 5th canto, that one?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada. In the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated by Rishabhadeva to his sons, persons engaged in fruitive activities are repeatedly accepting birth and death, and until they develop a loving feeling for Vasudeva, there will be no question of getting out from the stringent laws of material nature. As such, any person who is very seriously engaged in his occupational duties in the Varnas and Ashramas, and who does not develop love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, should be understood to be simply spoiling his human form of life.
Okay. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So here it is talking about, we now just before this we spoke about how we have to execute our occupational duties. But here the whole catch is that we should do our occupational duties, that is Varna and Ashrama, to develop love for God. Most of us, we end up developing love for ourselves, aham mamete, either ourselves or our extended selves, right? So it is important that I may be doing my occupational duties to 100%, but without love of God or without bhakti towards God. It is like any other animal doing occupation, I mean doing its duty, because even an animal does its duty to tea, right? But it has no knowledge about bhakti or devotional service. So that is the aspect here. Subbarao Prabhu, please read. This is confirmed. Subbarao Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
This is confirmed also in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter, verse 32, in which the Lord says to Uddhava, "My dear Uddhava, Any person who takes shelter of me in complete surrender and follows my instructions, giving up all occupational duties, is to be considered the first-class man. In this statement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is understood that people who are generally attracted to philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, political, and social welfare activities may be considered nice men only in the calculation of the material world. From Srimad Bhagavatam and other authentic Vedic scriptures, we learn further that if a person simply acts in Krishna consciousness and discharges devotional service, he is considered to be far, far better situated than all of those persons engaged in philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, and social welfare activities. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. So, see, this is more an aspect of knowledge for us, and when we are teaching, that we come across people in the Sattva Guna, all these philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, social welfare activities, they are the people, mostly in the Sattva Guna, because they are able to give up their time or money in welfare of others. And such people actually, with a little experience, actually a little very difficult to approach, especially for Krishna consciousness, because they feel they are already reached what they have to reach in life, in spirituality, because they say, what more do you want me to do? I'm already doing this, I'm already doing that. So here Krishna is addressing Uddhava to us through Uddhava, that any of these welfare activities minus Krishna consciousness is actually not a welfare activity, because in the process, and say we'll take an example, somebody is feeding some in an anath ashrama, right, and it is not prasadam. So now in the cycle of karma, that person has to come back as who has fed, and a person who's taking food, right? Now that cycle, he has to come back as a person who's anatha, and then that person has to come back to feed him. I'm just giving an example, like how this aspect of sattva guna in all these activities in sattva guna work. So it is actually not a welfare activity, because the person is binding himself and the person whom he is helping in the cycle of birth and death, right? So even though at the outset in the society it may seem as a very highly ethical or welfare activity, which is very good, because it is showing a lot of compassion. So, but then we have to understand that is not the ultimate, because ultimate help or ultimate welfare, social welfare activity, Srila Prabhupada in various purports says, is taking one back to his original father, taking them back to Krishna, and that can be done through Krishna consciousness, right? Yes, Swati Mataji.
Krishna Mataji. The same thing is still more emphatically confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto 5th chapter for verse number 41, in which Karabhajana Muni addresses Maharaja Nemi as follows: My dear king, if someone gives up his occupational duties and they are prescribed for the different varnas and ashramas, but takes complete shelter, surrendering himself under the lotus feet of the Lord, such a person
Krishna
is
Mataji, audio is not clear.
Yeah, sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not clear.
Okay, Mataji, now I'll continue.
Yeah.
Up his operational duties, and they are prescribed for different varnas and ashramas, but complete shelter, surrendering himself unto the lotus feet of the Lord, such a person is no more a debtor, nor has any obligation to perform the different kinds of activities we rendered to the great sages, ancestors, living entities, and family and society members, nor has he any need to bother executing the 5 kinds of yagnas,
sacrifice for becoming free from sinful contamination. Simply by discharging devotional service, he is freed from all kinds of obligations. The purport is that as soon as a man takes his birth, he immediately indebted to so many sources. He is indebted to the great sages because he profits by reading their authoritative scriptures and books. For example, we take advantage of books written by Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva has left for us all the Vedas. Before Vyasadeva writing, the Vedic literature was simply heard and the disciples would learn the mantras quickly by hearing, not by reading. Later on, Vyasadeva thought it is wise to write the Vedas because in this age people are short-memoried and unable to remember all instructions given by the spiritual masters. Therefore, he left all the Vedic knowledge in the form of books such as Puranas, Vedanta, Mahabharata, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah, Sudha Mataji, please read the next paragraph also, then we can.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. There are many other sages like Shankaracharya, Gautama Muni, and Narada Muni, to whom we are indebted because we take advantage of their knowledge. Similarly, we are obliged to our forefathers because we take our birth in a particular family, where we take all advantages and inherit property. Therefore, we are indebted to the forefathers and have to offer them pinda, prasada, after they are dead. Similarly to the people in general, we are also indebted as well as to our relatives, friends, and even animals such as cows and dogs who render us so much service. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. The next paragraph also, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. In this way, we are indebted to the demigods, to the forefathers, to the sages, to the animals, and to society in general. It's our duty to repay them by proper discharge of service. But by the one stroke of devotional service, if someone gives up all obligations and simply surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is no longer a debtor nor obliged to any other source of benefit. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So here, mainly in these three paragraphs that we read is talking about we being obliged or being debtors because we are taking help. Shastra also says another quality of a Brahmana, is that he never tries to take help from anybody. He tries to do all his work by himself, mostly, right? Because any help that we take, then we are indebted to them. And then like here in the paragraphs is talking about demigods and then forefathers, the sages, and then Vyasadeva who wrote. So how are we going to, first of all, understand that we are being indebted to all these people, and then how are we going to get above all this? So in the process, in the whole process, or in our lives, we take help from so many people, we help so many people and bind ourselves knowingly or unknowingly. So by practicing Krishna consciousness or by doing devotional service, right, even though we are indebted to so many people and we are not able to repay that debt, by practicing Krishna consciousness, all those debts are repaid, is what Rupa Goswami Pada is saying here, right? So that aspect of watering the root, right, can also be that example Srila Prabhupada gives, right, can be understood very nicely here, that because we are trying to repay our debt to so many people and we don't even know where all we are indebted, right? So just follow Krishna consciousness and then we will be absolved from all these debts, right? Forefathers and everything. Yes.
In the second or third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the purport, Yamunacharya says that I don't follow all the Vedic rituals of, I don't do all this because I just do Krishna consciousness. Some verses there by Prabhupada, he has quoted some, like Yamunacharya doesn't do all these things, like giving oblations to the forefathers, doing Sandhya and all these things, like something he says in that. Like
yes, Prabhu. Yeah, that is for exalted devotees like Yamunacharya, right? So the level that, at least I'm talking about myself, the level that I am in now, I would rather do it and then find out if I have reached that level that I can give up all that from the authorities. Okay. Yes, Subbarao Prabhu, please read in Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna Mataji. In Bhagavad Gita also the Lord says, give up all your occupations and just become surrendered unto me. I give you assurance that I shall give you protection from all sinful reactions. One may think that because he is surrendering into the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he will not be able to perform all the other obligations. But the Lord says repeatedly, don't hesitate, don't consider that because you are giving up all other engagements, there will be some flaw in your life. Don't think like that. I will give you all protection. That is the assurance of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Masuchaha sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham pras. Masuchaha, that aspect of do not fear is what is being highlighted here. Because in the process, even in our sadhana bhakti, there can be certain things that we may not follow, which is considered the norm in the outside material society, right? And then we may be worried. I mean, like, especially when we are starting Krishna consciousness, there can be certain social obligations that we don't adhere to because it comes in the path of our devotional service, right? We may not want to eat certain things, So, I mean, I'm just giving a basic example, which of course keeps going higher and higher, right? As we progress in our path of spiritual journey. So Krishna, and then we always have this fear of being ostracized, or that you can talk of peer pressure in the sense, you're among the so-called society or relatives, like you are kind of ignored, or you're in one corner. You are one person and they all are one. I mean, these things can be at the mental level or on the physical level. The fear, right? So in that aspect, when you see Krishna is saying, you don't worry. You may think, if I don't go there, and then that I may hurt that person, and then I may get that reaction. So all that Krishna is saying, one doesn't have to worry. There'll be no flaw in life, right? Because being in the Grihastha ashrama, so many things that we have to cater to, and which will really not be possible if we have taken up Krishna consciousness very seriously. And most of it may look very mundane and not worthwhile spending so much time, right? And then that doubt also creeps in that will I be accepted? Will I be totally ignored, and things like that? So for all that thing, Krishna is saying, Ma Suchaha, don't worry, right? Doing Krishna consciousness is the highest welfare activity. Yeah, Rohini Shetty Mataji. Rohini Shetty Mataji can read.
Can I read one?
Yeah, you can read the last paragraph, Prabhu.
Okay.
There is additional evidence in the Agastya Samhita, as the regulative principles of scriptures are not required by a liberated person. So the ritualistic principles indicated in the Vedic supplements are also not required for a person duly engaged in the service of Lord Ramachandra. In other words, the devotees of Lord Ramachandra or Krishna are already liberated persons and are not required to follow all the regulative principles mentioned in the ritualistic portions of the Vedic literature. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. If we read the 7.19 Bahunam Janmanam Ante of Bhagavad Gita, Purport, Srila Prabhupada there very nicely says how one who has, finished with all these ritualistic activities, all these kind of, only then a person comes to Krishna consciousness. That is what Bahunam Janmanam Ante. We were doing all this for so many janmas, and then we have come to this. So if we relate this paragraph to the purport of that 7.19 of Srila Prabhupada, we can understand that after doing all this, most of us, we are doing all this, and then by the mercy of a devotee, by the touch of a devotee, we have come to Krishna consciousness. So we don't have to worry so much about all these ritualistic principles. Yes. Yes, Prabhu, Virendra Prabhu, the
Okay,
last paragraph.
yes. Similarly, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, verse 42, Kavichandra
Kara Bhajana Muni.
Karabhanjana addresses King Nimi and says, "My dear king, a person who has given up worship of the demigods and has completely concentrated his energy in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has become very, very dear to the Lord. As such, if by chance or mistake, if he does something that is forbidden, there is no need for him to perform any purificatory ceremonies, because the Lord is situated within his heart. He takes compassion for the devotee's accidental mistake and corrects him from within. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita in many places that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, takes a special interest in his devotees and declares emphatically that nothing can cause his devotees to fall down. He is always protecting them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, you see the power of devotional service. He need not even perform any purificatory ceremonies, it says. About who? About a devotee. Because as it is, the Lord, because he is a devotee and doing devotional service, the cleaning process, the anartha nivritti, in a very, gross and fine way is already happening. So and if we think of this aspect of worship of demigods, now let's take it on a practical aspect, right? We have 33 crore demigods. How many names do we know? Let alone worship, how many names can we claim that we know? 10, maximum 15 or 20? 20 is big number. I mean, at least I don't know 20 demigods names.
Really speaking, it is 33, but they have been multiplied to crore, means 8 Rudras, means Ashtavasus.
33 crore demigods. Yes.
That,
okay.
11 Adityas and all that. Like, yes.
Yeah, 33 crore, I said, Prabhu. 33 crore demigods. So, even on the practical aspect, it would be difficult to name them and then worship them in the next. So, even in that aspect, doing devotional service to the Supreme Lord is very, more practical, and then which is what all the scriptures are saying. So that with this we come to the end of chapter 5. There are a few things that I wanted to share about this chapter as a gist, like how practically we can see there are practical examples of how pure devotional service is, right? The beginning of the chapter, if we see, it says that anybody who's inclined to material aspects cannot take to devotional service. There must be some amount of detachment to the material activities that we were doing, and then that's how we came to Krishna consciousness. Though it is not zero, but then we either may be saturated or we may be happy with whatever is given, and then we took to Krishna consciousness. And then the next aspect there was talking about how there were some people, who were saying Nityananda line, said only Brahmanas or only people in the Brahmana or Goswami family can become devotees or can become Vaishnavas. Here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was not just a reformer, he was a revolutionary. No, the difference is a reformer means, a small shake-up, like if we are repairing the house or something, it's a reformer. But a revolutionary is somebody who brings down the house and then tries to build something new. That is how, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself did not come in the Goswami line, right? And then he started this, and then, but Vipinna Goswami, who accepted him as a disciple, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who read many scriptures, was very much attracted by Chaitanya Charitamrita and was initiated by Vipin Goswami. Now, then comes Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, who said a Vaishnava is above Brahmana. And there's a famous debate in Midnapur between a Brahmana and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Because when he made this statement, the caste Brahmanas were very upset about this aspect, that devotional service can be taken by anyone and is above any caste or creed, right? And this the lecture that I heard, he was mentioning this great debate, though I have not read about the debate. After the debate, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj debated so well, quoting scriptures, that I believe there was a stampede of people to take his dust, the dust from his lotus feet, right? And so the authorities there brought buckets of water and made him dip Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, his legs to dip in the water, and then they all, took it on their heads. That is what. Now, why I'm insisting this so much is we must understand the situation then. Now things are more acceptable in terms of the caste and other things, but during those times the caste Brahmanas were very rigid, and then whatever they said was like only Brahmanas can do all this, can be initiated, and then can do devotional service, can do deity services and all that. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur and then eventually Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, initiated non-Brahmanas to somebody above Brahmanas as Vaishnavas, that was a real revolutionary thing. Now, some examples as it is that we can see, practically, if we see any of the dasas or any of the thakurs or the sants we see are not at all from Brahmana family. Being in South India, tomorrow being Kanakadasa Jayanti, like this Kanakadasa comes from a Shudra class, right? And he was basically from in and around Udupi. Right, when he was there, the Brahmanas did not allow him inside the Udupi temple. Though he was a great Vaishnava, just because he was not born in a Brahmin family, he was not allowed inside. So, even now, if we go to Udupi, if we have to take the darshan of the Lord, right, one has to see through Kanakana Kindi. In the sense, Kindi means a small hole, right? The deity turns to give darshan to Kanakadasa, right? So, which the Lord is saying loud and clear, right? It is not by caste that anybody, that I'm going to be favorable to. Anybody doing bhakti, pure bhakti, right, is my pure devotee. One example. The other example in Chaitanya Charitamrita we can see when Haridas Thakur says Nama Bhasa, just by chanting Nama Bhasa, one can get liberation, right? Now, the Brahmana, Gopal Chakravarti Thakur, who is a Brahmana, challenged, and then he offended Haridas Thakur, offends Haridas Thakur, and says, if what you are saying is not true, then let your nose fall off. He tells Haridas Thakur. Everybody there, are very mad at Gopal Chakravarti Thakur because he's offending Namacharya, who is given the title Namacharya by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, right? So eventually it so happens that Gopal Chakravarti Thakur gets leprosy and his nose melts off. This is what Chaitanya Charitamrita says. So here again, it is the Lord is saying loud and clear, it is not by birth. The very fact Haridas Thakur, forget Brahmana or a Shudra, he is not even, he is actually born in a Mlecha family. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started this revolution by saying he's the Namacharya. And Advaita Acharya, when he was doing the Pinda Pradhana, the Shraddha ceremony right? Then he is among all the Brahmanas that were there, he calls to Haridas Thakur to take the first when they have to feed the Brahmana, he calls upon Haridas Thakur, and there, so all of them are very offended. I'm the caste Brahmanas. And then Haridas Thakur says, okay, you're all Brahmanas. The one aspect of a Brahmana is like you have to, the fire ignited, ignited, by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by the power of that, not with matchstick. And so he takes a bundle of sticks to all the Brahmanas, and then they are chanting the various Vedas and this and that and all that. About all that. And then only when he comes to Haridas Thakur, the summit, it's called the summit, that gets ignited just by Haridas Thakur's chanting. Again, another this thing. And then if we have to take the famous examples of Mrugari or Valmiki, Mrugari, again in Chaitanya Charitamrita, is such a hunter that he kills animals half, and then he is very happy to see them, wriggling with pain, and just by the touch of the pure devotee of Narada Muni, and by chanting the holy name, right? From Murugari, he becomes, from there where he is very happy cutting half, the animals into half, and then seeing them struggle. By the after Narada Muni's advice, and then taking up to devotional service and chanting of the holy name of the Lord, he is not even able to step on an ant, right? So another classic example of how pure devotional service is, right? And then recently I was His Grace Narhari Chaitanya Prabhu was talking to me. I mean, he was asking me how was the yatra and other things. He was mentioning that he met one devotee. Okay, he was mentioning that he met one devotee who had a lot of prick marks on his hand, right, on his hand, which says that he was a drug addict. Through those prick marks, he was saying, 6 years ago I was a drug addict, I was taking morphine, whatever, blah blah. And after that, he came in touch with devotees. He took up to Krishna consciousness, he took initiation, he's taken Brahmanical initiation, and 6 years down the lane, now he's doing deity services in the temple, though I don't remember which temple he mentioned, right? So if we are thinking all these are stories, then Srila Prabhupada is the living proof of how pure devotional service. He took up people in the lowest, most category that we can think of, drug addicts, and from there, not just Brahmanas, they have given their lives, the entire, for 4 or 5 decades. We see people who have been initiated by Srila Prabhupada are into this movement, serving the movement and following utmost regulative principles and these things. So that is how purifying devotional service is, right? It is not just and then see, practicing devotional service, doing service is not always very easy, right? And we may think only we are going through a lot of difficulty when we are practicing. But then I would like to quote 2 examples from the Ramayana, especially Lakshmana, who is service personified, right? He is service personified. But then what did he have to go through to continue his devotional service? Like Prabhupada says, ahaituke and apratihata, like nothing should come in the way of devotional service. Lakshmana, when the deer, Marichi calls out, hey Rama, I mean, that Mother Sita says, please go and rescue Sri Ramchandra. Being a wife, chaste wife, she says that. And then Lakshmana refuses because he wants to order the obi of his brother Sri Ramachandra. And then Sita Mata says, you are, accuses of him of being lusty, or because you want to be with me, that's why you're not going, right? These are the kind of very harsh words that Lakshmana hears to. And then when he, and then after that, Lakshmana goes, because repeatedly Mother Sita saying, you go and help Sri Ramchandra. There he goes and Ramchandra says, how dare you come here? I don't think those words were used, but then he said, how come, why have you come here? You left Mother Sita. You see what he is going through. He is trying to do his service, devotional service at his best, but then getting the brickbat on both the sides. But then that did not deter him for a moment at any time to not do devotional service, right? So one more classic example from Ramayana you can see is Bharat Maharaj. Bharata was chastised by everybody, including Dasharatha. Because of you, Sri Ramchandra had to. Kausalya blamed him, and it is said in the Ramayana that he had to go at 1:30 and go and bathe in the Sarayu, because there were some Praja, the citizens of Ayodhya, they used to pelt stones at him. Because of you, Sri Ramchandra left. He went at 1:30. But then that never deterred him, so to take up to devotional service and to continue his devotional service, right? So these are some examples of, it is not just that because they are exalted, or because they are amsha of the Lord, that they don't go through it. They are all showing us how devotional service has to be practiced irrespective of what we go through. And anyway, the classic example of Prahlad Maharaj can never be, we never stop discussing about that, right? So these are some of the things that we can dwell upon, or think upon, at how purifying devotional and how purifying and how satisfying it is to the Lord. And because the Lord is satisfied and pleased, eventually we are also satisfied, right? And with one last example that I would like to close the class is the famous Purandaradasa. This Purandaradasa is was known as Navakoti Narayana, right? He is known as Navakoti, another Dasa in southern India, more so in Karnataka. His songs, his bhajans are as good as the Vedas. If we listen, that is, and he has written innumerable songs. Actually, he was Navakoti Narayana. What is Navakoti? During those days, recently there was a WhatsApp video that was running around and said, what is the amount of money that he had, that he gave loan to Krishnadevaraya, the king Krishnadevaraya, he gave loan. Then you can imagine, if he can give money to the king, how rich he must be. And there's one huge figure that they give, So he was a Vaishya by profession as such. He was a gold merchant, so it's called Navakoti Narayana. And it so happened a Brahmana comes to him asking for alms, and he was a top miser to the core, in spite of having all the money. Comes to him asking for money. The Brahmana comes asking him for money to do the Upanayana samskara for his son, and then he repeatedly says, come tomorrow, and then the Brahmana understand, and he goes to his wife, this Purandaradasa's wife, and there the wife knows by nature how Purandaradasa is, and then, but then she wants to, she is a lady, and then she, in spite of it, she gives her nose ring to this Brahmana and says, you go and sell this and you do the samskara. But then he doesn't realize it is this Purandaradasa's wife. He goes to the same shop where Purandaradasa is having the gold shop, and then he goes there and then he sells it. And then Purandaradasa realizes, like, what is this? This looks like my wife. So he gives the Brahmana money, he closes it, and then he goes home. And then the wife sees him coming there. Then she goes and says, I'm doing something, changing or taking a bath and things like that. And she knows what he's going to ask. Then she wants to take poison, like she's ready to take poison. And in the glass of poison, instead of poison, there is this nose ring that she finds. And she goes and gives it to Purandaradasa, or called as Navakoti Narayana. And then by taking that, then Purandar Dasa is wondering, how come it is there in my shop under lock and key, like, you know, you would have locked it so much. Then he takes it and then he goes there and there he finds it missing. That is when he realizes the aspect of devotional service, and it is said that he puts one tulsi dala, one tulsi leaf and all that he has, and then he becomes dasa. So even though he was not practicing devotional service, and then because of his wife. So you see, even if some of us are practicing devotional service, may not be to that extent, even that can have such a purifying, powerful effect in the house or among the people that we come. So devotional service as such itself is so purifying that it does not need anything else, you know, any karma, gnana, or any other thing. So all these examples, some examples about how pure devotional service is, there are plenty that can be discussed, and then we read through in Bhagavatam and then the other scriptures, right? So, and of course, our living example is Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees that all over the world. We have devotees including from China, Africa, and such pure devotees to such pure extent. It speaks loud and clear about the aspect of devotional service. So with this, I would like to conclude my small summarization of the purity of devotional service of chapter 5. And I would extremely thankful to all of you for giving me a patient hearing. The whole aspect has been very purifying. The whole exercise is actually purifying for myself, because in the aspect of trying to do a class, so-called class, and that too a topic of purity, which I'm yet to realize what it is. It is purely the mercy of Vaishnavas and especially my Guru Maharaj. I thank you all and humbly pray, please pray for me so that I'm able to follow at least a bit of what I'm trying to say here. And if there's anything anyone wants to share, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We'd like to thank Purnadni Mataji, very wonderful class, right from Kanakadas pastime to Chaitanya Charitamrita, to Srimad Bhagavatam, to Srila Prabhupada, to all the disciples. Wonderful. I think the entire ambit was covered by Mataji. Very, very wonderful class, and also we just got to know that tomorrow is Kanakadas Prabhu's appearance day tomorrow, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so thank you so much. So we get to know only what is mentioned in our ISKCON Vaishnava calendar. So beyond that, we don't have knowledge. So thank you so much for telling us about that. Very, very wonderful day tomorrow. And also, you spoke about, yes, Mataji, you want to say something?
No, tomorrow is a holiday, so they've declared holiday here and state holiday for Kanakadas Jayanti.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Haribol, Haribol. Very nice. So Mataji covered, how bhakti is all in all. There is nothing but that bhakti requires. Bhakti is independent. Bhakti attracts Krishna. So Mataji gave so many illustrations from so many scriptures, from various leelas of the Lord, from various sampradayas. So in this way, we are very grateful to Mataji. Mataji very beautifully summarized the entire chapter also. So we thank Mataji for a very, very wonderful session, very beautiful summarization of the entire chapter. If any devotees have any question, then you may raise your hands. We have about 5 minutes. We need to end by, say, 12:40. So if any devotee have any questions, then, you can go ahead. Otherwise, if there's no question, then I'll request Purnandri. Yes, Virendra Prabhu, I was just waiting for your hand only to be up. I was thinking, are you there or not? Yes, Prabhu, go ahead. Go ahead.
It means in this entire session, it was said that the prescribed duties what you perform, and if while performing the prescribed duties, if there will be some sin in our occupational duties, but we are also performing bhakti, then because it is also said that Yamunacharya was a great devotee and he was not paying attention to these Vedic rituals like what we do Sandhya Vandan and all this. So is it for a devotee, is it like okay if we will not do all these things, and plus that sinful part in the prescribed duty. So my is the both question, like we can say. I have two questions, like one is that part and one is this part, like because like devotees forego all this like sometimes. So is it okay?
Hare Krishna. The aspect of sin, like if you see the third chapter, I think it is in the 6th or 7th shloka, Krishna says, one cannot sustain oneself without breathing, I mean, without doing anything. Now, when we are breathing, we are killing so many entities, right? So you're incurring sin. So I think more than, it is a very impersonalist way of, talking about the negative aspect, the sin, right? So let's focus on what Krishna says to do rather than what should not be done, right? Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Kirtaniya sadahari. So by chanting always, or by Tasmat sarvesu kaleshu, right? You think of me always, right? Then when we are doing this, that is what is this chapter about. Even the aspect of thinking about Krishna is going to purify us from all these anarthas that we do knowingly or unknowingly. And as regards to Yamunacharya is a very exalted devotee, right? Now, he says he was not doing all these prescribed duties, right? That is fine. So as far as we are concerned, right? I'm repeating this. Kindly contact your wherever you're connecting with Krishna conscious. Meet your senior devotee and please ask him about the duties that you want to forego, if you want to, and then decide about, because he will be able to better decide you rather than generalize
My
it.
question
Rather
is
than
not
generalize it. Right?
No. My question is not the like duties that we do. My is like if you're doing Ekadashi Vrat or if you're doing bhakti activities, then is it necessary to do all the Vedic rituals, that is Sandhya Vandan, or that which we do, like many like Vedic rituals that we follow in life. So
Yeah,
that is
there are one
that
or
is
two
question.
things that you are mentioning, Prabhu. Maybe it is very situational, right? Each situation can be very different. That is why it would be not wrong on my part to give a generalized solution for anything. Everything is what to say, situational based, right? So my humble request is kindly contact a senior devotee from wherever you are and connecting, and take more guidance, personal guidance from there. Or I would request Medhavini Mataji to connect Virendra Prabhu to Ashish Prabhu to further take up on this. I would rather not give a generalized statement.
Okay. Understood. The basic thing is to chant the holy names and follow Ekadashi Vrat and associate devotees. That I know means that is the best duty that we are doing, Vaishnavas. Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, so the one we are doing for the as career, Mataji. So that also comes under occupational duties.
Which one you are doing?
Right now, I'm a teacher, Mataji. I teach mathematics. So does that also come under occupational duties?
See, again, like I would repeat that if, as such, scripture says the aspect of maintaining the family is of the father, I mean the male member of the house, right? Now, because of Kali Yuga and because of situations, women are into working aspect, right? So I would really not know why what is the need for your job as such, right? And that apart, in your process of teaching, if somehow or other you can include either maybe chanting once or twice Hare Krishna mantra, talking something about Bhagavad Gita and to the children whom you're teaching, right? That would dovetail your occupational duty to Krishna consciousness.
Sure, Mataji. I'll try that, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad Pranam. And it was a very excellent class, Mataji, and with full of examples, which will help us to go in devotional service, Mataji, and it will keep us in devotional service with full our attentions, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, the topic is that purity of devotional service. So that is speaking. I'm only an instrument here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So I think we can close here. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Vancha
Mataji, for sharing the Purandara Das and Kanaka Dasa story. Mataji grew up listening to it as a kid, so it was very refreshing again to hear from you on this platform.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. We also thank all the devotees who are participating enthusiastically. Thank you, Virendra Prabhu, for all your wonderful questions. It is helping others also because all the questions don't have standard answers. There's nothing black and white, right? Prabhupada has given us fully white ABCD square formula, but for the details, we need to consult with our senior authorities, like Mataji has mentioned. So thank you, Mataji. Very, very crystal clear answer on that. We are here to discuss principles of bhakti. For details, we need to personally contact our counselor or our mentor who will guide us on a personal basis. So thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Her Grace Purnandini Madhavi Mataji ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. So tomorrow we will continue with the next chapter. Please join us at 11:25 a.m. We will take our journey on Nectar of Devotion forward. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Dandavat pranams to all the devotees.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Dandavat pranam.
Mataji, Purnanandi Mataji, can I end the session, Mataji, with your permission?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Miss Mataji.